as well as possible, considering this incredibly surreal and challenging time that we're living in. This is the plan for the rest of the semester. The goal of the rest of the semester is to be as flexible as possible for you. So this is completely asynchronous, which means there are some deadlines, but you don't have to Skype in at particular times. You don't have to enter lectures or Zoom meetings. There's a series of projects you need to complete. I'm going to explain each of these. There's a deadline for each one. Follow those deadlines. This goes along exactly with what I emailed out before, but this gives a little bit more of an explanation. So, first thing that I want you to consider, you've got 3 documentaries. You have to watch the documentary. For each documentary, there are 2 supplemental readings. So watch the documentary, do the readings, and then complete the worksheet. The worksheet is on Blackboard. Download it, fill it out, and then re-upload it to Blackboard. Each of these counts as either 2 quizzes or 2 in-class writings. So this should help your grade. If you watch the documentary, if you do the reading, you will do well on this. So don't simply fill it out without including any detail. You do want to take a little time, but this is supposed to boost your grade. So this should be the easy thing. The documentaries are all also, in my opinion, very good. So the first one you need to watch is Bigger, Stronger, Faster. That looks at steroids and performance-enhancing drugs, and you'll be asked to consider, what do we even consider performance-enhancing? What should athletes be tested for? Why do we even care? Second documentary, and you can watch these in any order. Second documentary, Unforgivable Blackness. This looks at Jack Johnson, who was the first black heavyweight championship boxer in the world. In this, you can see how sport not only reflects society, so reflects the views that we have on race, but actually shapes how people understand race. So make sure to watch this one, do the reading. Really important moment. One of the really, perhaps the most important moment in sports history. And then we have the Fab Five. So this also deals with race, but the focus here is, should college athletes be paid? Why or why not? So all the supplemental readings, and I think you actually have 3 for this one, but they're all very short. Most of them are in the New York Times or the Atlantic, so short readings. But thinking about college sports as an economic industry. So those are the 3 documentaries. So do that. I would get that out of the way first because it could help you in the later assignment, which is the debate. Other thing that you have to do before the debate is show and tell. This isn't due until till May 4th, so the end of the semester. I would get it out of the way earlier because it's relatively easy. Exactly like you're doing a show and tell in class, find something in the news, maybe a video, maybe a highlight, anything that you can relate back to class. Then when you do that, you're going to write 3 paragraphs, relatively short paragraphs. First paragraph, explain the example that you chose and why you chose it. Second paragraph, explain the connection to class, some sort of concept, 1 or 2 concepts from class that it relates to. Third paragraph, what do we learn from connecting those things, right? How does the example that you've chosen, when connected to the idea from class, what does it help us learn about the example? Or maybe what does the example help us learn about the concept from class? So you could go either direction. An example, there was a book that just came out called The Hot Hand by Ben Cohen. In this book, what Ben Cohen does, this is what I explained in the first paragraph, is he looks at this idea that in the 80s, a bunch of statisticians said that the idea of the hot hand is completely a myth. So this idea that if you hit 5 shots in a row while you're playing basketball, you're in the zone and you're more likely to make the next shot that you take. They showed statistically that this is not true, that in any sport there isn't this idea of being in the zone. Now what Ben Cohen does is he goes back and he uses new data. He uses new statistics that are available and new statistical analysis, and he shows there actually can be this thing called being in the zone. So first paragraph, I explain it. Second paragraph, I link to some sort of concept in class. In this case, I would probably choose the concept of the idea of modern sport being this thing that we try to quantify and measure and turn it into something that we can analyze to understand what causes success. And then in the third paragraph, I would say, well, if we look at that example and the concept, it shows this tension between qualitative understandings of sport, what it feels like to be in a sport, and statistical analysis, which is supposed to be the subjective truth, right? So that's what you're doing with the show and tell. 3 paragraphs, an example you choose. Final thing that you have to do is the debate. This counts as a significant portion of your grade. Initially, you had 3 debates that you had to do. Now you only have 1, so you're going to put a lot of work into this. This is the final project. So you have 3 topics you can choose between, and I'll explain those at the end. Once you choose your topic, you're going to write a 3 to 4 page single-spaced memo. It seems like a lot. It really isn't. The reason it isn't that much is because it doesn't have to be this beautifully crafted paper. You want to lay out your argument in memo form, meaning you're proposing what you would argue if you were in the debate, right? So you'll definitely have an introduction laying out your ideas. You'll definitely have a conclusion where you summarize the ideas. But what you want to do in the middle is just provide all that supporting data. And it can be in chunks where you write a paragraph. It could be some bullet point statistics that go along. It could be any data that you find. So this could be stories that you want to share related to the topic. Again, statistics that you want to share, maybe historical moments, maybe other citations. So it doesn't have to be a perfectly crafted written paper. And if you want, email me as you're working on this. If you're confused, I can always record more follow-up supplemental videos to explain this type of thing. When you're doing this, when you're crafting your argument, you need to draw on 3 things, and this is what you're going to be graded on. First, for each of the debates, I provide a series of readings or podcasts that I want you to read or listen to. Second thing, do some outside research, not a ton, but you want to get some more contemporary supplemental facts and data or stories, that type of thing. And the third thing is, I want you to make links back to the foundational class concepts that we covered in the first part of the semester. First part of the semester was all devoted to these ideas of how we understand sport. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the second part of the semester, but I want you to draw on those fundamental foundational ideas when making your argument. You've got 3 topics you could choose from. First topic, saving football. Here we have this idea that football is increasingly the subject of controversy, mostly due to understanding the injuries that are related to playing the game, and particularly head trauma. So what I want you to do is say what you think should be done with football. You could go as extreme as banning it completely, and you want to think about at all levels, what you do at youth level, what you do at college level, what you do at professional level. It could be that you say somewhere in the middle where you want to add increased regulation, shift some of the rules. Or maybe you want to actually say, get rid of the rules. We're actually making it too soft and we're being too sensitive, right? So you make an argument, you back it up. So it's not just opinion-based. You need to actually have data and make a sociological argument, not just your opinion. Second thing, professional stadium financing. Should stadiums that professional teams play in, that pro sports use, be financed publicly by taxpayer dollars? You will argue yes, the public should fund this, or no, they should not provide any funding, and it needs to be paid for completely by the teams. Draw on the readings, make an argument. Third argument, and this one will make more sense once you look at Deborah Brake's book, Getting in the Game. Excellent book, which lays out both sides of this argument. But here the question is, currently we have this model of separate but equal for sports, where there's a boys team and there's a girls team, and you play on one of those. Boys soccer, girls soccer, boys baseball, girls softball. So the question is, at the lower levels, we're not talking about college or professionally, at the lower levels, so youth through high school, should we integrate sport completely? Would that actually lead to more equality? Or should we maintain the separate but equal model? You come up with the argument that you believe, and you back it up with data. And this is due May 1st at noon. So basically the end of the semester, a week before the end of the semester. And that's it. Once you do those things, you're done. If you want, you could get ahead of this. Try to get this done in a week. You could be completely done with sport and society. Or maybe you want to wait, work through this slowly. Completely up to you. But again, the goal is flexibility. Final point that I will make. Every Wednesday, I will be available via Google Hangouts for virtual office hours. I will send you the link. Tell me if you want to meet, because I'm not just going to sit in front of my camera, but I'm always available during this time. I'm also always available by email. So email me. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible, usually within 24 hours, unless there's some sort of emergency going on in my life. I can also schedule other video meetings. So if you need to check in about something you're working on, I'm happy to do that. And then the final thing, if there's something that confuses you and you email me and it seems like something other people would want to know, I'll put out more of these video explainers. So that's the plan. Good luck. Again, contact me if there's anything I can do.